I was this close to making it to the night games clean. All I needed was Arizona to hold on against Princeton, and oh my goodness, one of the most pathetic performances I've seen from a 2 seed since I've been doing brackets. Wow, it was so embarrassing. And I'm going to go through the numbers, guys, on these first 8 games. Kind of how this is going to be structured is there's 8 games that have just finished. I'm going to go through all of them, and then tomorrow morning I'll go through the other 8s, talk about the matchups, and then tomorrow we'll do the same thing where it's about 6:50 right now. The night games are going to be kicking off, but I'm going to split it in half. So I'm going to talk about these 8 games that happened. We'll have the night games. I'm not going to do a video tonight because it'll be like 1 a.m., and then tomorrow I will react to the night games. But taking a look at my brackets, this is before the Arkansas game goes final, and I did get the Arkansas game right in my personal one. But the overall percentiles, I've got this, what do you know? Of course, the chalk bracket, 97th percentile. A lot of these pretty average. This one doing horrible. 97 percentile, 97, 97, 7, 73, 97. So there's a lot of them that are doing decent. We'll have to see how those turn out. But my personal one right now, I don't want to say it's screwed, but it's going to be a lot harder now. It feels like Alabama is a shoo-in out of that region. We're going to get to the actual games. I want to react to each of them and all their stats right here. So we begin with your typical 8v9 game back. Well, really, it wasn't even back and forth. West Virginia was in control throughout much of this game. Maryland had like 4 points with 12 minutes left in the first half. This is a game, I think, 7 out of 10 times West Virginia wins. They had 11 more shot attempts than Maryland. Maryland shooting 51% from the field. Very surprising against a good West Virginia defense, but in a 1-game sample, it happens. It's an 8v9 game. Yes, I did pick West Virginia, but it's no big deal. I'm sure really no one has either of these teams advancing past Alabama, but Maryland does win there. West Virginia, 8 of 19 from 3, good from the free throw line. You know, offensive rebound, big advantage. You would think that would be a recipe to win, but again, it's Maryland. 15 free throws, shooting 51% from the field, 23 of 45. They come back twice. West Virginia was up by a lot in the first half. They were up by about 7 in the second half, and they end up losing by 2. So Maryland moving on. They will be facing Alabama. Here we go, guys. I was trying to do my victory lap on this game, but the Arizona loss kind of took the wind out of my sails here. But yes, I did predict that Furman would win. Yes, it was very lucky. I don't know what happened there at the end with Virginia throwing the ball down the court when he had a guy wide open right at half court. He chucks it. Furman intercepts it and then randomly jacks up a 3, and they win by 1 point. And just taking a look at this game overall, Furman, 39% from the field. This is a very Virginia-type game. I mean, Virginia only 12 three-point attempts. Furman, 10 of 28 from the three-point line. You'll take that. And then another thing, Furman really hit their free throws in the second half. At halftime, I saw they were 5 of 10. So they ended up going 9 of 9 in the second half from there. Overall, defensive rebounding advantage to Virginia. We expect that, of course. But yeah, Virginia, very tough situation. Another loss as a higher seed. This is 3 out of 4 years now. They lost to Ohio as a 4 seed, and then they lost to UNBC as a 1 seed, but of course, they did win the national title in 2019, so, still, if you're a Virginia fan, you really can't be mad at Tony Bennett. If you're going to win the title in 2019, if my team won the title in 2019, I would be fine if they missed the tournament for the next 4 years, but Furman will be advancing there. The next game we have is Missouri beating Utah State, so yes, I was very high on Utah State, and Very, very sad story. Utah State was a top 30 team in terms of three-point percentage. Missouri was one of the worst teams at defending the three. So what happens? Utah State goes 4 of 24 from three. Missouri goes 10 of 25, and that's the difference. And, I know I've kind of disrespected Missouri. That's a good win for them. But I do think this is one of those one-game samples. Utah State just didn't make threes. Sometimes it happens. 4 of 24. It is what it is. Also Missouri getting to the line more than Utah State there. 12 makes compared to Utah State with 5. How about the offensive rebounds? Utah State with 9. Missouri only with 3. But again, the big problem there is the three-point efficiency from Utah State. That's what lost them the game. And Utah State, kind of seen as a Cinderella for some people, they are gone in the first round. Missouri will be advancing. Next, we do have a 1v16 game. Of course, it is Kansas winning this 96-68. They did cover the spread without Bill Self, so that's kind of really the only thing you look in these 1v16 games. They also ran it up pretty well, scoring 96 points. Maybe a little factoid here. Howard was up 30-29 kind of late in the first half, so that was kind of funny, but certainly Kansas ends up winning this game very easily. Not surprising there. Really just a mismatch. Next, you've got Alabama over Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Weird game here with Brandon Miller. 0 points. 0 of 5 from the field. I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't watch this game. I didn't even realize he barely even attempted field goals. But Bama still scores 96 points with Brandon Miller scoring 0. And, this is a typical Bama game. 33 three-point attempts. They shoot 45%. And really, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, another 1v16 game, they are outgunned. They do end up covering the spread. They were 25-point underdogs, and they end up losing that game by 21. This was a pretty big game for me. I did have San Diego State beating Charleston, and they were able to hold off the upset there in the 12v5 game. I think this is great news for Drake, because we know there's going to be at least one, maybe two 12v5 upsets, and the fact that this isn't one of them, that's good news for the other 12 seeds in the tournament. But this is what San Diego State does. They play really good defense. 32% from the field for Charleston, 5 of 24 from 3. They did make their free throws, 84%, 16 total free throws. Offensive rebounds, pretty even. You had steals advantage to Charleston, but the blocks advantage to San Diego State. So San Diego State, if they were going to win this game, this is kind of how it was going to go. It was low scoring. It was holding Charleston down. Kind of a back and forth game. Charleston actually was leading this game early. San Diego State comes back, and they do end up winning it there. And then here we are right here. So this is just remarkable. Princeton beating Arizona. But the real thing with this, a 2 seed. So think about this for a second. A 15 seed shoots 4 of 25 from 3. If you're a 15 seed and you're 4 of 25 from 3, you should be losing by 30. They win by 4. This was an all-time choke job by Arizona. None of those kids looked like they wanted any part of the ball late in that game. None of them. This was the ultimate choke job, and this is really bad for the Pac-12. And you know what? This answers our question, was Arizona just running up good game scores and good analytical numbers against really bad teams, or was Arizona actually a good team? Turns out they were just running up numbers against real bad teams, and it looks like the Pac-12 is a bit of a fraud, and this is not good news for UCLA. I don't want to write UCLA off yet because it's different teams, it's different games. Arizona was leading throughout much of this game, but again, it is a horrible omen if a 15 seed, normally if a 15 seed upsets a 2 seed, oh my God, they shot 60% from 3, they were 11 of 25, you're 4 of 25, and they made 3 free throws and upset them, and Arizona only attempted 7. So that goes to show you how soft Arizona is against Princeton. Going to the line 7 total times. Princeton, offensive rebounding advantage. Princeton, 3 more steals. Arizona had 1 block. I mean, this is just one of the worst performances I've seen from a 2 seed. I mean, obviously it was a close game. The reason it was a close game was because Princeton couldn't shoot. But that is something right there. That is crazy. And then, of course, this is the first thing I see on my Twitter algorithm. Look at this, Biden. I've got Arizona in the men's. He tweets this 5 hours ago. I literally refresh my Twitter feed in the For You thing right after Arizona loses, and I see this. Absolutely hilarious. And then the final game of the early window, you had Arkansas really holding serve and controlling Illinois. This game was not pretty. Both teams sub 40% from the field. Both teams 27% from 3. Well, I guess Arkansas was decent from the free throw line. They shot a bunch of free throws. Really nice offensive rebounding advantage there for Arkansas. And this was a real impressive performance. Kind of an interesting little stat. Arkansas only had 4 total assists. Goodness. But yeah, for Arkansas, shooting 38% and controlling this game in an 8v9 matchup, that's got to be a really good omen if you are them. And a lot of people are very high on Arkansas, possibly to have a Cinderella run. They certainly have the overall talent with the 2 guards. We will see. Just getting an update on the bracket. You've got Alabama. They will be facing Maryland. They will be, I believe they're around 9-point favorites against Maryland. And then San Diego State, who I do have going to the Sweet 16, they will take on Furman. You would have to figure San Diego State will be favorites, but I mean, certainly, it's not like San Diego State is this big juggernaut. Furman, with the momentum that they have, they could make it interesting, but I will say I think Virginia was really overseeded, and I think Furman got real lucky winning that game off kind of a fluke turnover. Another matchup we have ready for Saturday, Missouri and Princeton. So I did not have either one of these teams, and certainly if you're Princeton, you're playing with house money as a 15 seed, possible Cinderella type team if you get into the Sweet 16. Missouri, I was not high on them as a 7 seed, but you do have to respect it. They did win that there. Another matchup we have, this is one that a lot of people predicted. It is going to be Kansas taking on Arkansas in the second round. Kansas coming off that easy win over Howard, and then you have Arkansas. They just won against Illinois right there. So those are all the games that are set currently. There are 8 more games going on tonight. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.